I want to talk about something that trips up a lot of self-employed hair professionals and hair business owners, and that is trying to understand if you pay business taxes or do you pay personal taxes? Are you filing personal taxes? Are you filing business taxes? It trips people up. And so today I am going to break down what you actually are responsible for filing and what you're responsible for paying as a business owner or someone who is self employed in the hair industry. My name is Jennifer Drew. I am the founder and CEO of Hair CEO. It is a business advisory and accounting firm that helps self employed hair professionals become legitimate, run their business like a real CEO, become bankable, and of course, more bankable, fundable, and run their business legitimately. So, with this particular video, I am not going to get too technical. In this video, I'm not trying to go over how do you file taxes. The intention is to break this down so that by the end of this video, you will know what you're supposed to file and what you're responsible for paying as a business owner, depending on how your business is set up. And so the first thing that I think is important to understand is that we have to get on the same page with some terminology because we can use some words interchangeably. Um, we can use some words interchangeably. And I see Tapered Love Co. is on. Hey, Katie, love it. I'm ready too. Kim. All right. So, that is what see, I lost my train of thought already. Yeah, so let's get on the same page. All right, so when it comes to you as a business owner, there is something that you're responsible for filing, and then there is something that you're responsible for paying. Now, the report, what you file, is only a report. This is something that you tell the IRS or the state how much money you've made. Okay. That is the first part that you need to understand. And then there is the tax part, like what are you paying? And so if you don't know this by now, there are lots of different taxes. And when business owners are mostly saying, well, what tax am I, like, what am I supposed to pay? What they're talking about is income tax. And so there's the income tax, and then there for again, I'm not trying to get too technical, but then there's also the self-employment tax. But I'm not going to like go that deep. But that's the first thing I want to make sure you understand, that there is what to file and then who pays. And so that's, if you don't leave with anything else today, that's the only thing I want you to leave with. I want you to know your entity, and I want you to know these two things. No. Okay. Katie, you gonna get me in trouble today. I see you in the chat, and you gonna stop taking me out of character, Katie. Stop. All right. So the first thing is that it's about what you file. So let's talk about that. How you're set up will tell us what you file. Now, the one thing to understand is that when it comes to income taxes, everyone who makes money, who earns money over a certain amount in the United States is responsible for filing what's called an income tax return. That is a form, and that form is Form 1040. Okay? Everyone is responsible for filing a 1040 if they earn income in the United States over a certain amount. Again, I'm not getting too technical. So then we have, before we do the sole proprietor and the single member LLC, let's talk about a partnership. Now, a partnership is for anyone who is in business and registered with the state or not registered with the state. Let's say you're not registered with the state. And you and a business partner are in business together, and you guys, are doing hair, or you open up a hair salon, a barbershop or something. then you have to file what's called a Form 1065. Okay. Now, if you filed an LLC with your state, then to become a multi-member LLC, you fill the same form out, that 1065. Okay. Now, if you are taxed as an S-Corp, let's say you had an LLC or you had a corporation and you asked the IRS to tax you as an S-Corp. Again, this is not a technical video, so I'm not going into that today. But if you know that you have an S-Corp election, if you've been granted that election, then you're responsible for Form 1120S. That's the form that you're responsible for. And then lastly, the entities that we're going to cover today, then there is the corporation. Now, I will be honest, this is the entity that I see the least of in the hair industry, and I think that's great. Honestly, I don't see a lot of reasons right now to have a corporation as your business entity, or the way that you are taxed. It's not beneficial to a lot of hair and self-employed hair professionals and hair business owners. So, I don't see this one a lot. But if you are a corporation, if you are taxed as a corporation, then you're responsible for Form 1120 without the S. Okay. And so those are the forms. And so you may be thinking to yourself, okay, well, Jennifer, I'm not a partnership. I'm not taxed as an S-Corp, and I'm not taxed as a C-Corp. So where's my form? Your form is the Form 1040 if you are a sole proprietor. So this is someone who's doing business, making money, but you never registered with the state officially for any business, structure. Then you are a sole proprietor. Or if you did file for an LLC with your state, then you are considered a single member LLC by default, right? By default, you are taxed as a sole proprietor. And so you are only responsible for this form, but the difference is that within this form, there is what's called a Schedule C. And that is where your business income and expenses goes. And so these forms are reports only, okay? They tell the IRS, they tell anybody who's looking at these forms, it tells you how much money the business made, how much business the money spent, and if there was a profit or if there was a loss. That is what these forms are telling us when we file them. Now, when it comes to who pays, that is totally different. And so now let's talk about that. Who was actually paying? When it comes to the Form 1040, and if you have a business, if you're a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, the taxpayer, biz owner, right? You're responsible for paying the tax, the income tax, right? Because, and I'm just going to put up here, income tax, because that's very important. That's what we're talking about here. So then let's talk about the partnership, the S-Corp and the C-Corp. Now, the partnership, same thing, taxpayer. And actually, it's going to be taxpayers because we know it's a partnership, so we know it's more than one person. So the taxpayers are responsible for paying the income tax. These are what's called pass-through entities, because the business doesn't pay any taxes, the taxpayer does. The business, the taxes pass through the business and goes to the owner. That's what that pass-through entity means. Same thing with S-Corp, taxpayer. The C Corp is the only entity that actually pays business taxes. So here, the business. The business pays the tax. So that's the only entity. Everything else is considered a pass through, and you don't, your business doesn't pay the tax. So that really is, the gist of it. And so when people are saying, oh, well, I need to, file my business taxes, I want you to come back to this chart and figure out, where are you on here? So you know exactly what form that you're supposed to, fill out, so that you know and feel confident, right? I'm not saying you have to file your taxes on your own, but as a business owner, I want you to be aware of what's being filed on your behalf. I want you to feel confident about, you know, um, just taxes in general. Like, I want you to feel confident, because what I find is that working with a lot of hair professionals, numbers overwhelm you, numbers intimidate you, scare you, and you're like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to, I don't even want to like acknowledge it. But it really is that fear that you have, in my opinion, is what keeps so many people from advancing in this industry when it comes to their finances. For you to become bankable, for you to get business loans, for you to get funding on a larger scale, and not just, worried about these square advances that's going to charge you X like 20%. It's insane. Then you need to make sure that you're doing this stuff correctly, because if you don't, banks are not going to pay you any attention. You're not going to get loans. Outside lenders are not going to respect you if you're not doing this stuff correctly. And so I want to make sure that you understand exactly what you're responsible for. Take away the fear, and just embrace that you're a business owner and you're responsible for certain things. And this is one of those things. So that is all I wanted to talk about today.